and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, for a full Barça news roundup, because again, there is plenty for us to talk about today. Ilkay Gundogan leaving the club, and what this means for Dani Olmo and registrations at Barça, and we're also going to be talking about a much more realistic transfer target in Federico Chiesa. But would that be the correct move? It is all on the way, so come on, and let's do this. Because I do want to start today, guys, with some fantastic super thanks shout-outs here coming in on the channel. But Alfonso here, not really happy with what we're seeing from the board at Barcelona right now. Of course, we're all standing with the club, but it's a difficult time that we find ourselves in. Another one here saying that we're making some silly decisions. The decision-making right now is not what we need at the club, and that Gundogan's departure is a prime example of that. So thank you there for the super thanks coming in, guys. And I just want to say to all of you right now, I know that things are a bit difficult, and certainly here on the channel, we always go through so many different emotions with Barca. We're all so attached to the club, and that means that we have big reactions. You know, our mood at times is dictated by what this club does. It's a shame. It's not exactly healthy, but that's just the way that it goes. But with Barca, you get lows, but there will also be highs. At some point, guys, we've got to hang in there. We've got to believe, we've got to trust and hope, as always, that we will find that way to bounce back. And of course, focusing on the field, we all want a successful season. So let's hope and cling to that. And I would like to talk here, first of all, about Vitor Roque, because actually, we might have some good news here. This might be good news, I feel, with regards to Vitor Roque, because he's actually going to join Real Betis and not Sporting Lisbon this summer. He's going to join Betis there on a loan deal, because even though Barca were really close to actually confirming his immediate departure on a permanent deal to Sporting, after Betis presented their proposal, Roque made it crystal clear he wanted to go there. He wanted to join Betis on loan. That was his preference, and that is what he told the club in no uncertain terms. And that deal now with Betis, there will be no buy option at all in it. It will be a straight loan deal there between the two clubs, and it said that Betis will cover almost all of Roque's salary at Barca. So not the complete amount there of his salary, but most of it will be paid by Betis. And I think, guys, it's really positive, because it means Roque's still alive here. It means that he's still actually a Barca player. He's going to go away, he's going to get some football, but he's got that opportunity to come back to the club. And I think you look today at Robert Lewandowski, it's his 36th birthday today. Happy birthday to him. But look, the guy's not getting any younger. We still need to be looking to the future here. And I've got to say, guys, I'd love the chance to watch Vitor Roque every week in La Liga here. I think it would be really exciting to see him go out to a good club in Betis, get regular minutes, and as the number 9, you know, let's see him in his actual position. And just think, guys, he's going to be out with a real point to prove here. He's going to have that burning desire and motivation to show what he can do. And just imagine if he starts banging in the goals of Betis there in front of that crowd at the Benito Villamarín in La Liga. What kind of message that can send out to Barca. He's got a chance here to showcase his quality, and I would love to see him do exactly that. Speaking, though, about exits at Barca, guys, of course we have to move on to talk about Ilkay Gundogan, because, well, that deal, it is all wrapped up. It is completely done. Ilkay Gundogan to Man City. Here we go, according to Fabrizio Romano there. He will join on a free transfer from Barca. We have been so desperate to offload his wages that we have literally given away Gundogan to his former club. He will sign there on a deal at Man City until 2025. There will be the option, it's believed, of a further year in that deal, and Man City are absolutely delighted to have him back. It was an opportunity that they didn't really see coming, but they have been more than glad to accept it. Another super thanks here coming in from Saeed on the channel. Big supporter here of the channel is he, and he says there that Gundogan's words last season that we talked about yesterday, they were always on merit, every single time, and that Gundogan here has left with his dignity intact. impact at Barca. So certainly wise words there, I would say, because for me, I've got big respect for Ilkay Gundogan. I think he really did act like a true professional, a true leader in his time at the club, and I think his intentions were always good. I think he had a real passion. He wanted to play here. We saw that, the fact that he left Man City to come here in the first place. He wanted to get us back to the top of football, and he always demanded the highest level, and I don't think you can knock that. I don't think that you can criticise him there for being that kind of character, and I think you actually see how professional he is, by the way, because of the way that he's conducted himself during this entire situation, during this exit from the club. He didn't dig his heels in. He's a big earner. He's got that contract that was given to him 12 months ago. He could have just sat on the bench for one more year and took the money. Living in Barcelona, living the dream, no problem at all. A lot of players have done that at this club, but he didn't do that. He understood that, look, you don't want me here. It's very, very clear. You're trying to force me out of the club. And in the end, he said, well, fine, I will go somewhere that does want me then. And big respect for him for that there. And I do wish him all the very best. And I think it's interesting as well, guys. Fabrizio Romano says today that Pep Guardiola was absolutely key in Gundogan's decision to return to Man City. Pep stepped in there. He spoke there personally with the player. He was desperate to have Gundogan back in his team. And you just think there about Man City, about the squad that they've got, the players that they've even got at their disposal in midfield, and yet they were determined. Pep stepped in to bring Gundogan back, and that speaks volumes about how highly they rate him as a player, and I think it casts even more doubt here on the thinking at Barca and the planning, or lack of it, at this club. Because speaking of that planning indeed now, Gundogan's exit actually means here, guys, that 4 out of the 5 signings that we made 12 months ago have now all left the club. Gundogan signed on a free. He's now returned to Man City on a free, just 1 year on. Oriol Romeo signed for €4 million, and he's already returned to his original club on a loan deal this summer. The two Jows, of course, returned to their parent clubs too, and even Inigo Martinez, who's the one that's still here, the club wasn't even planning on registering the second year of that contract they gave him until Hansi Flick requested it. So again, you can see there, crystal clear, the planning is just off. The thinking at the club, and not even the long-term planning, but the medium term is just not even there at all when it comes to the sporting side. But what we do know now from Gundogan's exit, guys, is that Dani Olmo will be able to be registered at the club. That is the expectation right now. But even here and now, I still do feel for him. He's been waiting around all week, and he will continue waiting until this Gundogan exit is fully wrapped up. He's had no idea if he was even going to play this weekend. And again, it's not an ideal situation for the player. It's not an ideal situation for the coach, who needs to plan all week for the coming game, especially for a signing of that size, guys. You shouldn't have to be panic selling players here, or panic giving away players here, just to be in a position to register a player who you've already signed. We've already committed to spending that money on Olmo, and we've had to look around here, cast aside Gundogan, simply to be in a position to register him. Come on, guys, you've got to do better there inside of the club. That is not okay, and further exits to come now in these days and weeks ahead of us in the window. It may still open the door to one further signing, but it would not be a big money one. So let's move on to talk about Federico Chiesa, because in my mind, it's a much more realistic target there. We spoke yesterday about these Rafael Leao rumours. Absolute nonsense. Never, ever going to happen. We are nowhere near in a position to do something like that. So Chiesa, he's a lot more realistic there. It's possible that Barca could be able to sign him this summer for just €15 million from Juventus, but is it a good deal? And why, given his talent, given his potential as a player, why is he available for such a cut price? Because last season he had 9 goals and 2 assists in Serie A. Not too bad, a decent season. He's not quite at the level that he once was. This is not the Chiesa of a few years ago, but he's still only 26 years old, 27 in October, still plenty of time on his side, and he can be a very, very, very good player. He can actually be deployed on both wings. He could be a player there who is dynamic. He's got lots of pace about his game. He's also got an eye for goals, certainly there. He is capable of scoring goals from wide areas, but he's all of these things, and he's all of this talent, but only when fit. And that's the big concern right now. Again, injuries. And it's another player here whereby at Barca, we already struggle with injury problems. We've already got plenty of players here where there are concerns. Even Dani Olmo, he's had plenty of injury problems in the past. We've already added him now to our concerns in the squad. And are we about to add another? Because Chiesa, there's no two ways about it. He is injury prone. He has been absolutely plagued with injury problems over the past few seasons. And that is why he is talented. He does have quality, but that is why Juve are willing to sell him and at a pretty cheap price. So what we've got here is, again, an element of risk with this signing. It feels like another one of these signings at Barca, if we do make it, that it could go one way or another. And that's the kind of market that we shop in these days. You're taking a gamble on someone, you're hoping that it works out, rather than actually looking at the facts, looking at the data that we have to understand what he's going to do as a player. And I just think here, Chiesa, he could be good quality, he could add to our squad, he could be somebody that works well under Flick, but it could easily go the other way. This could easily be a player that we're talking about again in 12 months' time saying, Barca want them out. Barca don't want to keep them here. They've signed on a 3, 4, 5-year deal, and Barca do not want them at the club anymore. So right here, guys, we've got to look at Chiesa, we've got to look at the positives, we've got to look at the negatives, and we've got to weigh up whether it's worth that risk there. Would you go out and sign him this summer? Is he the player that you would go for on the left wing? And do you believe he is worth the risk for Barca? So please, guys, do let me know all of your thoughts and your opinions in the comments down below. We will keep battling on here on the channel. We'll keep fighting, even though these are turbulent times. They are frustrating times at the club right now, but we still have to maintain that hope. And big game, of course, coming up this weekend against Athletic Club, of all people, for Barca. So I will see you very soon on the channel, guys. Thank you indeed for your great support. But until next time, as always, Visca, El Barça.